You got more shots than this shit, nigga. Try your luck. Let's go on beef. How about it, nigga?
What happens when a rapper's name alone makes other artists rethink their next move, even switch cities just to avoid smoke? In Memphis, Tennessee, there's one name that still makes even the toughest rappers hesitate before talking reckless. Pooh isn't just a topic, he's a warning label, and the moment his name comes up, the whole energy in the room shifts fast. This isn't internet tough talk or some studio-made legend either. People say he's really like that, and the streets respond accordingly. He comes from real ties, real pressure, and a reputation that's made the rap scene move extra cautious. Stories connected to him range from serious street situations to rappers quietly packing up and leaving Memphis just to stay out of the mix. Folks whisper that one wrong move, one careless name drop, and it's curtains. And that fear didn't come out of thin air. His presence runs so deep that even saying his name the wrong way is rumored to bring unwanted attention. Stick around, because by the end of this breakdown, you'll understand why people say Pooh isn't just another artist chasing clout. He's seen as the shadow in the background, the figure that makes other rappers lose sleep and check over their shoulders twice. Before getting into why so many artists steer clear of him, it's important to understand exactly who he is. Born Luntrell Donnell Williams Jr. in South Memphis, Pooh Shiesty didn't stumble into music by luck. He grew up surrounded by real-life pressure that most rappers only talk about in lyrics, and Memphis plays a big role in that story. This city is known for being unforgiving, where the rules hit different and mistakes can cost you everything. This isn't a place for online back-and-forths or playful diss tracks. In Memphis, things escalate fast, and people say he embodies that energy to the core. Even the name tells a story. Word is he earned it young for being slick, hard to read, always a step ahead, and already stirring chaos early on. From the start, people around him labeled him a real problem, and that image stuck for a reason. By the time he was barely a teenager, his life was already moving way different from most kids his age. Reports claim that around 11, he was already tied to robbery-related trouble. By 14, an assault case followed. This wasn't someone playing a role for attention or acting tough for the camera. To those around him, he was viewed as a real street-influenced kid who also happened to have a natural ear for rap. To really understand why Pooh moves the way he does today, you've got to look directly at where he came from and who raised him. His father, known around Memphis as Mob Boss, wasn't just another guy chasing a dream. He was widely recognized as being deeply tied to the city's street economy and even launched his own label, Mob Ties Records. Back in the day, this wasn't just talk for image. Court records show Mob Boss was convicted in connection with a serious 2004 case involving the death of local DJ Rebecca Glenn, a situation that only cemented his reputation in the city. And things get even crazier when you dig into how Mob Boss was allegedly moving behind the scenes. Law enforcement reportedly had one property under surveillance for months. From the outside it looked empty. Inside, authorities said it was a major operation hub. When they finally moved in, reports claim they found drugs, distribution-related equipment, and a large amount of cash on him at the time. That moment perfectly summed up the world Pooh Shiesty grew up in. Real stakes, constant pressure, and consequences everywhere you turned. He's even spoken about watching his father work in studios, soaking up game about the music business early, while also seeing firsthand how tightly street life and music were connected in his world. He's gone on record saying his dad was moving on an independent label level, with tour buses, real shows, and money circulating. But here's where things shift. Unlike a lot of rap kids who only inherit an image, Pooh Shiesty picked up both sides of the game. He learned the business early, how labels move, how money flows, how connections really work. At the same time, he carried street credibility that people around him say can't be bought or staged. And that combination is what makes him intimidating to others in the scene. Now let's get into Chopper Gang, because this story was never about one person moving solo. This is a whole crew, and they're known for more than music. The name Chopper Gang isn't random. In the streets, it's tied to heavy firepower and reckless decisions where mistakes aren't an option. Members like Big 30, Lil Hank, and others aren't viewed as rappers playing characters. People in Memphis describe them as deeply street-connected individuals who've been active for years. Take Lil Hank, for example. Not long after being released, he was reportedly back in trouble almost immediately. Authorities say he was charged in a shooting tied to what he believed was a rival's vehicle. The situation turned tragic when it was discovered the target wasn't involved at all, leaving an innocent man permanently injured. And that one incident alone says a lot about how serious things really get around this. Circleman showed just how quickly things can spiral when emotions run hot and judgment disappears. That's the type of chaos people associate with this crew. Fast reactions, deadly consequences, and zero room for mistakes. And while all of this was unfolding, Big 30, known as Pooh Shiesty's right-hand man, was already signed and pulling serious streaming numbers even before Shiesty fully blew up. Even with real motion in music and money coming in, trouble still seemed to follow him. Despite the success, he caught major felony drug charges in Alabama, then was extradited back to Memphis for a separate case. That alone told people everything they needed to know. This wasn't someone who ditched the streets once the fame arrived. Folks in Memphis say this lifestyle was never a costume for records. It was who they really were every day, and that's exactly why Chopper Gang puts fear into other rappers. This crew doesn't do the back-and-forth rap games. They're not known for responding with songs or slick captions. In Memphis, disrespect is taken personally, and people believe Chopper Gang handles issues face-to-face with real pressure and serious intent. Everyone in the city understands that clashing with them risks way more than a bruised image. Careers stall, opportunities dry up, and people start watching their surroundings a little closer. The clearest example of why rappers avoid Pooh is what went down with Big Boogie. This situation shows how reputation alone can flip an artist's entire path and force. Tough decisions about staying in their own city, Big Boogie was gaining traction fast. His melodic style mixed with raw Memphis energy was opening doors and turning heads. But talent doesn't always protect you when reputations collide. What started as normal rap competition turned tense when Pooh went live on Instagram and dropped a line that sent shockwaves through the scene. He said, "I ain't never like you. Good. I ain't gonna lie. Ain't never like you." The delivery was calm, direct, and cold, which somehow made it hit harder than any yelling ever could. This wasn't loud, emotional, or it was quiet, serious, and way more unsettling. And because of that, people watching could tell this wasn't entertainment beef. It was real dislike with real consequences attached. What happened next exposed just how uneasy Big Boogie really was about the situation. When Big Boogie later sat down on a podcast, and when he got asked directly about the tension with Pooh Shiesty, he didn't duck the question. Instead, he made it clear he wanted zero parts of that smoke. He openly said, "I never had beef with nobody in Memphis," and went out of his way to explain he wasn't looking for issues with Pooh Shiesty at all, because he understood exactly what came with that name. That wasn't trash talk. That was caution speaking loud. Think about that for a second. This is a grown man, an active rapper with his own motion, publicly admitting he wanted no problems with another rapper. That's not about pride or image. That's survival instincts kicking in. The streets respect honesty, and that honesty said everything without saying too much. The most uncomfortable moment came later when Big Boogie felt confident and asked online, "Name somebody that played with me." He was trying to stamp his credibility. Almost instantly, someone replied, "Pooh Shiesty," and the silence that followed spoke louder than any response ever could. Big Boogie had nothing to say back, because everyone watching already knew it was true. One name shut the entire moment down on the spot. Things got so tense that Big Boogie eventually packed up and moved from Memphis to Atlanta. Now sure, artists relocate all the time for business reasons, but let's be real. This wasn't about studios or networking. People close to the situation say Big Boogie believed staying in Memphis had become genuinely unsafe. When you're dealing with someone who has deep street ties and real people willing to move, you either gamble everything by staying put or you step away to protect your life. Big Boogie chose self-preservation and left his own city. And that decision alone explains a lot. If you really want to understand why rappers stay nervous around Pooh Shiesty, look at what went down in Miami, because that moment proved that even outside his hometown, even when music should have been the only focus, things could still turn serious. Fast situations could still spiral fast over the smallest hint of disrespect. According to court records and reports, it all started as a simple deal. Some guys were trying to sell him weed and a pair of Jordan for South. Easy exchange, quick money, no drama expected. But something went left during that meet. Maybe the product wasn't right. Maybe the shoes weren't legit. Or maybe a few words were said that rubbed the wrong way. Instead of walking off and letting it slide, the situation escalated hard. Authorities say the group was robbed. One person was shot in the lower body, and another had a rifle pointed at him while being warned, "Don't try it." After that, they allegedly drove off in a high-end car like nothing happened. That detail alone shook people watching from the outside. What made it even crazier was what happened next. Pooh Shiesty allegedly went online, flashing cash shortly after. One bill in particular became a key piece of evidence because investigators say the same bill was recovered at the scene. That detail stunned the industry. That level of confidence sent a loud message. It showed other rappers at situations around him don't stay verbal for long. Too many watching this incident confirmed that even minor tension can turn serious fast. And that's exactly why artists keep their distance and choose their words carefully. If a situation over weed and sneakers can spiral that far, imagine what happens when someone really crosses a line in a song or online. That's why artists stay quiet. If he's willing to risk everything over something small, people start asking what happens when the disrespect feels personal. That's what separates Pooh Shiesty from rappers who only talk tough for image. Too many in the streets, his background is seen as real and verified, not something put together after the fame hit. This isn't a story about someone growing up comfortable and suddenly claiming street ties once the money came in. This is someone people say was involved in street life from a young age, catching real cases and building a name long before the spotlight. That history is why others take his words seriously instead of brushing them off. When Back in Blood dropped with Lil Durk, a lot of listeners heard a hard hook and catchy lines. But in Memphis, people heard something else entirely. Folks believed those lyrics were pointing to real tension with a rival group, making the song feel less like music and more like entertainment and more like a warning shot. Lines like, "You know who took that stuff from you? Come get it back in blood," weren't heard as metaphors by everyone watching. To many, it sounded like a direct call-out tied to real situations, real people, and real grudges. That's why response tracks came fast. Other artists felt pressure to answer back, not for clout, but because silence in street politics can look like weakness. This wasn't friendly rap sparring for streams. This was real-life tension spilling into the music. And when one of the opposing camp's main artists was later shot shortly after dropping a diss, it shook the entire scene. That moment sent a clear message to anyone paying attention. Beef connected to Pooh Shiesty wasn't just lyrics and comments. It carried real weight that couldn't be ignored. Other rappers see all of this and understand quickly that Pooh isn't just rapping about street life for effect. In their eyes, he's actively living it, not separating rap from reality at all. His circle keeps catching real cases. Real people end up hurt, and the violence tied to his crew isn't just rumors or exaggeration. That's exactly why artists like Big Boogie chose to fall back instead of pushing the issue. They know this isn't playful rap tension. This is the kind of situation that can turn life-threatening fast. What gives Pooh Shiesty so much weight in the rap game is that he represents something most artists simply can't match. Authentic street credibility built long before fame ever showed up. In today's hip-hop world, most beef lives online. It's tweets, captions, and diss tracks. Then everyone logs off and goes home. But Pooh is tied to an old-school Memphis mindset where disrespect doesn't get brushed off. Words carry real consequences, and people believe action follows quickly. Other rappers know that saying the wrong thing about him isn't just risking a hit to their image. They see it as risking real danger, and that's a level of pressure most artists want no part of. On top of that, he signed to Gucci Mane's 1017 label, giving him major industry backing and real resources. When you combine label power with street ties and that mindset, it makes people uneasy. That mix alone explains why so many artists choose distance over confrontation. When you watch how other Memphis rappers move around Pooh Shiesty, the energy is obvious. There's a blend of respect and quiet fear in the air. Nobody wants to accidentally say the wrong thing and have it taken as disrespect. Nobody wants to end up like Big Boogie, pushed to leave their own city because peaceful coexistence with Chopper, gang wasn't an option. At the core of it, all rappers fear Pooh because he represents something that can't be bought, rented, or faked. That reputation comes from what people see as real street credibility, backed by real consequences. While a lot of artists step into characters once the beat drops, people believe Pooh lives the same life off camera that he raps about on records. Industry insiders, local artists, and fans all recognize that difference, and it changes how everyone moves around him. The Big Boogie situation showed exactly what happens when someone tries to test that reality. Once lines get crossed, options disappear fast. You either fall back and take the hit to your image, or you stand firm and risk something way more serious. Most artists choose self-preservation, and that's why Pooh Shiesty carries so much weight in the rap scene. His influence doesn't come from one thing alone. It's the family legacy tied to Mob, the reputation of Chopper Gang, and high-profile moments like the Miami case all stacking on top of each other. Every piece adds to an image that makes rappers pause before speaking in a genre where authenticity means everything. Too many, Pooh represents the rawest version of real, and challenging that image doesn't come without heavy consequences. The fact that he's now facing serious federal charges shows that this lifestyle comes with a high price. But even with that reality, his reputation still shapes how artists move, talk, and choose their battles across the industry. That's the power of real street credibility. It doesn't disappear just because someone's behind bars. Pooh Shiesty's impact on the rap game is undeniable, and the way he commands both respect and fear proves that authenticity carries weight far beyond the music. Other artists might feel tempted to test him, but Memphis has already shown what happens when lines get crossed. Now, if you want to stay locked in on the stories the streets won't tell themselves, make sure you join the Rap Uncovered family. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a drop. The streets never sleep, and we're just getting started. There are countless stories waiting to be uncovered. We drop heat every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's upload is about to be even crazier, even deeper, and absolutely Smash that like button, share this with your people, and drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about Pooh Shiesty's influence on the rap game? Are artists right to be cautious, or should they stand their ground no matter the cost? We'll catch you in the next one right here on Rap Uncovered, where the truth of the streets lives. Stay sharp out there, because in this game, the streets are always watching, and you never know which story is coming next.